This is the Horror Movie Show on hmpod.com, your one-stop shop for all things horrific and horror-related. Read the reviews, frolic in the forum, hem and haw over the horoscopes, and listen mightily to the Horror Movie Show with Mark and Jerry, your horrible hosts.
Good day, folks. Jerry here.
And Mark.
Yeah, that's Mark over there.
Way over here.
Way over there. In fact, he's in another country.
I feel like it.
His own country.
Yeah.
His flavor country.
Flat country.
Just like to say thank you to the amazing Teresa for making us dinner tonight.
Yes, it was.
A little noodle casserole with some tuna and some cheese and peas.
Lots of peas.
Lots of peas, yes. They give you that pop that just won't stop. All right, well, that's enough horror.
Yes.
Let's talk about movies. So we got a new movie to talk about, Sinister.
Dun, dun, dun.
Starring...
It sounds sinister.
It does.
Yes.
You know what? It has to do with being left-handed.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah. You're evil.
Yeah, that was a sign you were evil. You were touched by the devil.
Are you left-handed?
Hell no.
No.
I'm a proper God-fearing man.
My brother's left-handed.
Oh, a freak.
Freak.
A freak. Like Paul McCartney.
What is the percentage on left-handed people?
It's tiny. There's only like 7 of them in the whole world. People think there's more of them because they get a lot done. My mother and my Uncle Arthur are both left-handed.
Oh, there you go.
Or my mom was. She's not anymore.
Yeah.
Now she's sort of evened up.
It's funny with my brother and me because I have a double joint in one of my thumbs, and so does my brother, but they're opposite, and we're left and right. So it's like we're mirror images.
I would have you both killed.
That's one good reason.
Nail you to a telephone pole and let the crows have at you.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
And just, which crow will eat which person, that in itself
Hey,
would
if
be
it's a left-handed crow,
yeah.
Kill it too. Nail it to a smaller telephone pole and let the robins have at it. So we got this movie Sinister here. Stars Ethan Hawke, who has written novels. He's written a couple of novels. So
I hear that your sister met Ethan Hawke.
Oh, really?
Down at the Sylvia.
I've never heard that.
Yes. Yeah, she told us that.
Sister Janet?
Or Nancy.
Oh, Nancy, all right.
At least she says she talked to him.
She probably scared the hell out of him.
Yes.
Got him prepared for Sinister. So directed by Scott Derrickson, written by Derrickson and... I like this name. C. Robert Cargill.
Oh, that's nice.
C. Robert Cargill. Well, why should I? Oh, just C. Robert. I don't want to. Okay, Ethan Hawke plays Ellison Oswalt. Sounds like the wimpiest name in the world.
That's right, it is.
Ellison Oswalt. I do that, except my name is Ellison Oswalt.
Juliet Rylance plays Tracy. This old fascist Republican scumbag. Fred Dalton Thompson plays the sheriff. James Ranson plays his deputy. Michael Hall Daddario plays Trevor. And Claire Foley, good old Claire Foley, plays Ashley. Now, I've talked enough. Why don't you tell us a little bit about this movie, Mark?
Well, our good friend Ethan plays a book writer. And he originally wrote fiction and wasn't very popular, and he started to base his later books on real tragedies. He would go in and unsolved murders,
right.
And he would try to figure out the murder.
Right.
And his last several books were very popular because of it.
Right.
And Police, on the other hand,
sensationalistic stuff. Yeah.
And he would show the bad job that the police department had done, or our detectives or whatever.
Right.
So he's not very popular with the police.
And also there's an incident that's mentioned early on, and they never completely explain it, but he did something in one of his books that really screwed things up.
Yes.
Caused some deaths. He didn't actually kill anybody, but because of what he wrote, some terrible tragedy was compounded.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Somebody took retribution on somebody else.
Something like that.
On an innocent.
Yeah.
Anyway, he decides that he hasn't had a really popular book for a while, and he wanted that fame again.
Right.
So the movie starts off with a short film of a family with nooses around their neck.
That's right.
Right by a tree.
That's right.
And you see...
all the ropes are attached to this one branch on a tree.
You can see that there's something happening to a side branch on that tree.
Other side
it's
of the
like
tree.
somebody sawing one of the branches off. But you really can't see who's doing it.
No.
Finally, the branch falls down, and what it does is it's like a pulley.
Yeah.
It pulls all these people with nooses on their necks off the ground, and they all hang.
Yeah. It's like 2 adults and 2 kids.
Yeah. And then you find out a little bit about these killings, and this isn't the only one that's like this, is where the whole family's been killed. But anyway, to get the ratings back, this author moves into the very house that this occurred in.
Yeah.
And without telling his wife...
Doesn't tell anybody.
He doesn't tell his family
No.
that this is the house.
Yeah.
And they don't even want to know what he's writing about.
Right.
His office is off limits.
His wife says to him, okay, I know you're working on another one of these horrific cop detective type stories. Just promise me that you're not doing the same crap where we're like living on the same street as the house where everybody was murdered. And he can say, no, it's not on the same
two houses down.
Yeah.
He says, just tell me we're not living 2 houses down from the murder.
Not exactly.
No, we're not. Anyway, she finds out they're living in the house.
In the house, but not for quite a while.
Yes. They're moving in, and he's bringing some boxes up to the attic, which is supposed to be empty.
Yeah.
And there's one box up there.
There's a box already up there.
He goes up there and he looks into the box. There's an old film projector.
Super 8 home movies.
Yeah, and some reels.
Yeah.
And they're all labeled picnic.
Right.
Or a barbecue.
All very nice, happy family
Pool
stuff.
at the pool.
Yeah.
And
summer fun.
So they move in, and he takes these films down into his study, and lo and behold, they're all of these different families being murdered.
Right.
First of all, it's like somebody's taking secret film of the family, doing a nice activity, and then it cuts to murders of this family of doing similar activities.
Yeah. Like they're all being, instead of splashing and laughing around the pool, they're now being drowned.
Yes.
They're tied
to the
deck chairs and being pulled into the
one
pool.
at a time into the pool. So he discovers that
all these snuff movies,
that these films are real, and plus the fact of the murder that just occurred in that house is there as well.
That's right.
So he's dubbing these things off onto his computer so he can freeze frame each little frame.
He's really just using a digital camera to record the screen as they play these super movies.
So he can manipulate the images.
Tech.
Yeah, he's got an Apple.
Yeah.
And he's also learning about the murders from the police and the library and stuff like that in the newspapers.
Archives.
And he also is figuring out where these other murders are taking place.
Right.
So they're all over the United States. Now, does he tell the police about these reels? No. He keeps them a secret to himself, and he's doing this research, and one of the deputies he befriends.
Yeah. He's
because
a bit of an idiot.
Because he's a fan of his writing.
Yeah. The deputy's like
he's doing
idiot.
some research, and he's finding out where these different murders are. And at the same time, I mean, he's not telling the deputy why he wants to know this information, but the deputy is not stupid.
I think he's pretty stupid. The deputy says to him, you know how in real-life crime books the author always says at the start, I'd like to thank such and such police officer. I'd really like to be such and such. So from then on, he refers
deputy
to him
as deputy so-and-so.
So-and-so.
So-and-so, yeah.
Such and such, yeah.
But he's not stupid. He realizes that there is a connection between these murders. The deputy realizes that as well.
I thought he was just
and in fact, it's the deputy himself at the end of the movie figures out what the real connection is.
What the next step is. How they're related.
And how the author, Ethan Hawke's family, is put into the relationship.
Yeah, mortal danger.
Not a good thing for him. Anyway, overall, it's an interesting movie. It's one of those where, you're looking at the film and suddenly there's a face in the background.
Yeah.
And he's seeing this reoccurring face in the background of these films. So he's trying to figure out who this person is and where it all stems from. And these murders have been going on since the 60s.
Yeah.
And there's like 5 families now that are in this line of families. And they're very similar, but nobody even realizes that it's a serial killer yet.
Right.
Good old Ethan doesn't want to tell anybody. He doesn't pull in the police to tell them that there's a serial killer going on, and it's to his detriment at the end.
Oh yeah.
I found it a little frustrating because he didn't go to the police.
Yeah, he really makes bad decisions.
Yeah, and it's all because he wants a bestseller.
He wants a hit, and also he can't be honest with anybody.
With his family.
He can't be honest with his wife.
Yeah.
So, yeah, he's a very desperate, isolated, and sort of half nuts himself anyway. Like, you get the idea that whatever it is that he did that caused mayhem previously left a huge mark on him, that he's not the same bright guy that he was before. There's a huge cloud hanging over him.
Plus the fact that he claims he's doing it for his family. He wants to make a bunch of money for the family so they're set for life. But it's really his ego.
Oh, yeah.
It's all his ego. He wants another bestseller so people will revere him again.
Yeah. The day that they're moving in, Fred Thompson comes by playing the sheriff. And he's such a blow. I mean, he just looks like Foghorn Leghorn, this big loudmouth Republican dope. And he comes in and he says, I know you're really going to do this? You're really going to move into this house? And Ethan is like, hey, just keep it down. The wife is right there. Stum. Yeah. Well, I don't know if I agree with you, but I can't stop you, so if it was up to me, I'd have you on a bus and out of here immediately. But, yeah, he just, and then that's pretty much the last we see of the sheriff.
Well, until the very end.
Yeah.
And when they're actually leaving.
Yeah.
It is a very disturbing movie.
I just found that it sort of cherry-picked interesting bits from way too many movies. The writer, who's now a flop, who continues to sort of dribble along, I thought that character was stolen outright from 1308 with John Cusack.
Yeah, right.
Based on the Stephen King story.
But then there's been other movies that do that as well.
I know, but that one was recent, and it just, a lot of the personal tragedy involved and all that, it just seemed way too similar to me. The ghostly image showing up in the photos, I know I saw that in a movie recently.
Yeah.
Lots of red herrings and stuff like that, It's just,
I
didn't find anything in this movie original or new, and I thought Ethan Hawke in this movie makes a better novelist, but I haven't read any of his novels, so maybe he is a better actor. I don't know, but
no,
I just thought this was completely unoriginal.
I disagree. What you find out at the end about how everything's connected was interesting.
It was clever, but it was. Do I want to go?
And then plus the fact that
why do I want to go an hour and 45 minutes to get the one clever little thing in the whole movie?
Well, that's the whole payoff, isn't it?
Well, it wasn't big enough for me. Let's see, what else we got here? Oh, we have a sequel to dissect. There was a movie in 2009 called The Collector, in which a character played by Josh Stewart, who is a thief, a break-and-enter thief, he gets into this house and discovers that a whole bunch of people have been kidnapped and are being tortured to death, basically made into monstrous, giant, formaldehyde-filled dolls.
Zombie kind of dolls.
Yeah, well, they're animated by wires and stuff, but they're just dead people and taxidermy.
Yeah.
So, at the end of the first movie, the main character manages to escape. In the second movie, he's dragged kicking and screaming by the police.
The second movie starts off with a girl and her friend going to a party.
Right.
The party is this hidden party somewhere. You have to know it. And there's a password to get in and everything. And they get into the thing with her girlfriend and her brother. Anyway, so the three of them go to the party. She sees her boyfriend at the party, who had phoned her up earlier saying, I have to work late, I can't make it to our dinner date.
Right.
So she's kind of pissed. And she goes storming off into the hallway, and she finds an empty room, and she's in this empty room. Well, the whole room turns into this butcher fest with these blades that come down from the ceiling and basically wipe out 90% of the people at the party.
It isn't just the room she's in. It's like the whole house has just become like a giant press.
It's more of a building. It's not a house.
Yeah. Yeah. Everybody's being squished.
And slaughtered.
Except for our heroine, who gets to shout uselessly at her friend as her friend is being squished to death.
Yes, that she gets caught in a
blood
cage.
Flows freely.
Yes. Now, as she's running around, she comes into this room, and there's this chest sitting there in the room. So she opens it, and out pops this guy that was from the first movie.
Right.
And how he got into that box, I have no idea.
I don't remember. I guess at the end of the first one, maybe he's stuck in there. I don't remember.
Anyway, she lets him go, but he's all blood-soaked. And she doesn't know who she is, so she runs out of the room again. And he's sitting there, help me, because he's chained to the box.
Yeah.
He picks the lock because he is that thief. He's a thief.
Yeah.
And he picks the lock and he gets away as well. And he actually gets out of the building.
Right.
Now, the girl in it, her dad is a wealthy guy.
Right.
He knows that she went to this party somehow, even though she slipped out in the middle of the night.
Yeah.
He finds out that she went to this party and that there was a terrible massacre and everyone was dead.
Yeah.
So he hires a core group of people.
That's right. That's what it is.
To go and
like
find
SWAT
her.
team.
A sort of a special ops group.
Yeah.
And one of these guys has been taking care of the family for decades.
That's right. Yes.
And anyway, so he gets a crack group of 4 people together.
But they want the thief because the thief has been in there before.
They ask him, did you see this girl? And he said, yes. Is she alive? Well, the last time I saw her, yes, she was alive. Yeah. And she has been collected by the collector.
Yeah.
So he figures out where they are. When he was first abducted...
That's the collector's house. He's been there before. That's where the action of the...
When he was originally taken to that house in the first movie, he made cuts on his arm signifying right, left, and how long they drove between.
Yeah, so he blindfolded.
So he helps them find the place by retracing his steps to that house. Yeah. And at first they just contract him to take him to the house. Then they say, well, you got to open the door.
Yeah, now you're coming with us.
If these guys are a crack team of specialists, why don't they have somebody that can open a door already? No. Yeah. They say, oh, no, you got to open the door and then you can leave. Of course, he opens the door. Then they put a gun on him and say, no, now you got to show us the insides of the place and you got to help us find the girl. Yeah. So he's kind of stuck going back into the place he did not want to go.
Yeah. No.
And then it's just basically cat and mouse through the whole place. And
which is all the first movie was as well. Yeah. Because he's broken into this house to rob it, and little does he know that like all this horror is going on in the house. Plus, every square inch is booby trapped.
Yes, there's little tripwires all over the place, things to step on or whatever.
Yeah.
And yes, people are being killed all over the place.
It doesn't take long for the grand team to be winnowed down to just like 2 guys and the thief.
So while this one group is looking for the girl actually escapes from her chest. Yeah. The way she escapes is the silliest thing I've ever seen. She takes her bra apart, takes the wire out, and plus the rubber band part of it, strings it all together, shoves it out this little hole, and then
to unlatch it.
And this is one of those old trunks with one of those spring-loaded kind of things. I know. It would have been impossible to open that thing, yet she manages to do it.
Yes, she does.
There's a few things like that you go, what? That's just not possible. It's stupid.
Pretty damn silly. I remember the first movie, and I thought it was adequate, but this sequel really didn't need to be made. It's directed by Marcus Dunstan, who's one of the powers behind the Saw movies and also the Hostel movies. And Josh Stewart, I think, has showed up in both of those series. He plays Arkin, the criminal, the thief. You got Christopher McDonald, Tim Griffin, Joanna Brady, Emma Fitzpatrick, and Randall Archer playing the Collector.
The Collector doesn't talk.
No.
And you don't see his face because he's got this black thing on.
He's got a zippered mask on.
Yeah. All he does is kind of wander around and beat people or kill people with blades. They discover people along the way in chests, tied up against the wall.
Glass cases.
There's this one... it seems like he's doing some sort of genetic experimentation with a bunch of people, and they're all in these huge vats of water, and they've got extra limbs on them, and some of them are half-exposed skeletons on them and stuff like that.
No, that's not... Well, I mean, it may look like experiments, but the idea is that he's just such a sick monster that he's making his own giant human dolls. So he's just taking arms and stitching extra ones onto bodies.
There's one that looked like a crawfish, with all the extra legs
that's right.
on it. Each room had its own little charm, and he was doing different things in each room.
Well, that's it. It's a collection.
They come into this one room where all those vats were. There's a girl that's basically pinned to the wall. All of her arms and everything have nails through. She's like she's crucified on the wall.
Or a butterfly.
And then he just walks in, and she's going, help me, help me. And then he just slits her throat as matter of fact. While he's looking for the people that have broken into his place. And this elite team didn't think that they should bring a cell phone with them or anything like that so that they could contact the outside world. So when they start getting picked off one at a time,
they can't even communicate.
They can't communicate with anybody. In today's society, you don't have a cell phone?
No,
Give me a break.
Very badly done. Okay, let's get on to the next movie, because this one's making me feel nauseous. Probably shouldn't have eaten just before we talk about it. Next movie we got from 2012 is called Red Ink. R-E-D-D, Ink as in I-N-C period. Also known as Inhuman Resources. So the one thing this movie was not short on was bad puns. Directed by Daniel Krieg, written by Jonathan Green and Anthony O'Connor. Stars Nicholas Hope as Thomas Redman, Kelly Paternity as Annabelle Hale, Sam Reed as William Tucker, Alan Dukes as Edward Crandell, Daniel Craig, the director, in as Guy Marr, and the great special effects master Tom Savini plays Peter Bava. Savini has he's taken on acting roles every now and then. He played sort of Mexican bandito in From Dawn Till Dusk.
Oh, really?
Yeah, with Quentin Tarantino for their mutual friend Robert Rodriguez. Certainly the best of those From Dusk Till Dawn movies. Savini is wasted here, but, I guess he'll help out a buddy and do a little acting role. But what he's mostly remembered for is all his wonderful special makeup effects.
Did he actually do the effects on this movie?
In Dawn of the Dead, Day of the Dead.
Oh, okay.
Sort of thing. No, I don't believe he did. I didn't see his name doing special effects. This is such a low-grade movie. They could not afford Savini as anything except an actor. So he came in for a day or two to do his scenes.
The majority of this movie is done in one room.
Yeah.
There's a couple of rooms. There's the washroom, a hallway, and
once
a main
again,
room.
A group of people kidnapped, knocked out, unconscious.
It started at the beginning. There's a murder at the beginning.
We don't have to.
Yeah, we do.
Oh,
it
God.
sets up why they're there.
This movie doesn't deserve 3 minutes of brain power.
Oh, come on.
All it is a bunch of people wake up chained to desks, and there's a psychotic guy running around who is calling himself their boss, and he's a real strict boss, and if you cross him or don't add the figures right in your ledger, because he's making them do all kinds of crappy little office jobs, then he beats them to death with a machete or an axe.
Okay, there's more to it than that. The very beginning of this movie, you're at an elevator, right? And this girl walks in, and she's at the elevator, and there's this guy standing behind her, and the elevator opens, and here's this guy, blood-drenched, with an axe in his hand, and a decapitated woman at his feet.
Right.
And he gets charged with murder, murdering this CEO. And it's a serial murder in that there's a guy running around killing all these CEOs by decapitating them. So he gets charged with all the murders.
Yeah.
And he has always said that he was innocent.
Yeah.
And this is why he's collected these people, because these people were One of them was the prosecuting lawyer.
Yeah.
One was the police detective on the case.
One was a witness. One was a judge. Blah, blah,
yeah.
blah.
So they were all part of his thing, and he's there, and he wants them, after he has them do mundane chores for him in the office.
So clever.
He gives them parts of the case that convicted him, and he says, "I want you to find the real killer."
Right.
Why are you saying it like that? Because I thought it was clever.
Okay. Here's what bugs me about this stupid damn movie. So you got this innocent man who didn't kill the guy in the elevator.
Yeah.
But he's capable of setting up a fake office, kidnapping like half a dozen people.
Did you not watch this movie?
Kidnapping half a dozen people, secretly bringing them back, chaining each one of these well-grown people to their desks, and then eliminating them one by one, very methodically.
Yeah.
But he's not a serial killer.
Yeah.
And he's completely innocent. And how could he be a serial killer? I'll tell you how he could be a serial killer. Because he is one.
You forgot about him going into the insane asylum and that they did operations on his brain.
And that's going to turn you into a super master criminal?
Apparently it did in his case, because they did something terrible to him.
This is such a stupid
in
movie.
the asylum.
This is one of the worst movies I've seen in a long time.
I see
a lot of bad movies.
Come on, there was a rationale for everything that happened in the movie. And I thought it was interesting that he had his rules.
Ugh.
He had his rules. You had 5 strikes and then you're out.
Ugh.
If you did something wrong in the office or you offended him in a way, he would scratch a line into your forehead. And then when you got the 5th one, he'd kill you. Simple as that.
It's such a stupid movie.
I thought it was fun.
Oh, I just hated it. I hated everything about it. I hated the whole notion that he's innocent and he's going to really prove it to these people by torturing and murdering them.
He turned that way once
How about finding the real killer? How about that?
And they did. They do find the real killer.
Yeah.
And in the end, he was a little bit of a hero at the end.
It's just another snuff movie.
No, it isn't.
Oh, terrible movie.
I disagree. I think that you have to watch this movie and decide for yourself, because I thought there was some interesting parts to it, and everything was justified.
Let me decide for you, folks. Don't watch this movie. It's just awful.
Jerry's wrong, as usual.
Okay, let's get on to a much, much better movie. One, unfortunately, Mark didn't see. An Irish movie.
So I can't say how wrong you are?
No. Because I'm always right and I always tell the truth. Grabbers, it's called. It's directed by John Wright, written by Kevin Lehane. Richard Coyle plays Garda Karen O'Shea. Ruth Bradley plays Garda Lisa Nolan. Garda is just the Irish Gaelic word for officer. Police officer. So that's the 2 main characters. And you have Russell Tovey plays the local doctor who's also coroner. And a wonderful old character actor, Laylor Roddy, plays Paddy Barnett. So what it is it's a tiny little Irish seaside town. The chief constable, Chief Garda, whatever, is going off on a holiday. So they've sent in a replacement from the mainland, Lisa Nolan, played by Ruth Bradley. So she's new and she's fresh-faced and she's really keen to do the job well. And the other guy, who's, sort of in charge of the cop shop while the boss is away, played by Richard Coyle, he's a drunk.
Uh-huh.
His wife died miserably of cancer, whatever, within the year. And so he's just been drunk the whole time. But it's small town. Nobody ever gets into any real trouble. So they're letting it slide. Besides, they're Irish.
Right. And everyone drinks.
Everybody drinks constantly. Well, it turns out that a meteor seen by several, including a couple of guys on a fishing boat, they see this meteor come smashing in the dark, whacks into the sea. They immediately, of course, the thing to do is to take your boat over to where this thing landed.
Of course.
And there's some kind of hideous squid monster that's come from space, dispatches the fishermen immediately, and then makes its way to shore.
Don't tell me it grabs them?
Yes. It's the charming old Irishman who calls them grabbers, which is I think a very conscious tip of the hat to, what's the movie with Fred Ward and Kevin Bacon? Tremors.
Yeah.
Wonderful movie. And they called them graboids.
Did they?
Yeah, the old man who runs the shop, he calls them graboids because they...
The tentacles, yeah.
The tongue.
Yeah.
The tongue are like tentacles. So anyway, these great monstrous squid-like creatures, we see them in all their various stages. We see the eggs, we see the young, which is a little bit like Alien that way. And then we see the full-grown adults. And it's like, well, wait a second. If these are marine creatures, how are they moving around on dry land? It's raining. I guess that's enough. But it was so funny. It was so tongue-in-cheek, and they just refused to take any of it seriously. But like Tremors...
Is it a comedy?
It was like Tremors. It has a lot of funny moments.
It's quirky.
Yeah, it's quirky. It's nice. You don't often see an Irish movie at all. But you don't often see an Irish movie that's a horror movie and also, a black comedy.
Yeah.
So I really enjoyed it. I thought it was very funny. All the actors are good. It's such a little slice of Irish village life. Everything goes on around the pub.
Yeah.
That's where both the cops are living, temporary and permanent.
Yeah.
The gal who is the wife of the bar owner, the missus of the house, I recognize her as one of the backup singers from The Commitments. Remember that movie with the Irish blues band?
Yeah.
So you recognize some of these actors, even if they're not household names, and all just really good. It was a very entertaining movie, and compare that with something like Red. There's no gratuitous violence in this. In fact, a lot of the time people are just sort of pulled into the sea. That's the end of them. Probably unpleasant under the water. But
Is this set up for a sequel, or?
I suppose you could, but it wasn't obviously set up for a sequel, which is nice.
Yeah.
Now I think about it, maybe it is fairly obviously set up because they couldn't kill them all.
That's right. There was lots of them.
Yeah. Well, they're breeding.
Yeah.
So,
okay.
So they know that they kill one, and the doctor, who's sort of a wry character, and he's got a thing for the female cop, the female Garda. She's very nice to him because he's he's obviously the most cultured man on the entire little island. But she's sort of interested in the drunk guy, especially when she finds out why he's so miserable, and that he's just a sad, broken character. So there's a nice little triangle going on there with the drunken cop not really giving a damn about any of it, but it's funny. And so they kill one of these monsters, and the doctor says to the two cops, well, since she had eggs in her, we've got to assume that there's a male around. And he says, well, how do you know that this is a female? Maybe it's male. And he says, no balls. So, sort of going along the lines that all creatures, even space aliens, are going to be designed along the testicle divide.
Well, since they landed in the water, they could have gone to the mainland as well. So there's no guarantee that only the ones on the island are the ones there.
That's right. They could have swum anywhere.
Yeah.
But you just get the idea. Yeah, they came ashore as quick as they could. And they like the rainy weather.
And are they eating people for food? Is that it? Or are they just trying to get rid of people?
I think they're probably feeding on them. They're animals, though. They don't seem to have any great intelligence. They're just how they manage
So they're not intelligent aliens.
They don't seem to be. There's no communication with them or anything like that. No, they're just...
Or do they communicate with each other?
They're no more intelligent than the graboids in Tremors.
Okay,
right? They're big, scary animals. I love the line in Tremors where Kevin Bacon's character says, Jesus Christ, what the hell? You guys know about these things? And Fred Ward says to him, yeah, buddy, we all know about them. We just didn't tell you. Just don't tell Kevin Bacon. So anyway, that's one that I would really recommend. Grabbers, it's called. Nice Irish movie.
Well, I didn't have time to see it, but I do have it. So
Well,
I might just watch it with my son.
Just because it's a fun movie.
Yeah.
All right, we got another one to talk about this episode. It's called, and this is an exercise in low budget, this one. It's called All Superheroes Must Die.
Yeah.
Written and directed by Jason Trost, who, not surprisingly, cast himself as the main character, Charge, What I liked about The Watchmen, okay, this is like Watchmen in that there is a group of 4 superhero buddies.
Yeah.
And they have their little rivalries, they're fighting over the girl superhero and stuff like that. And one of them, the first dummy to die, he's real thick. You get the idea. He's dumb as a stick. Anyway, these 4 superheroes were exposed to something when they were in high school, as they saw an alien event or something, and they've all got superpowers, or so we're led to believe.
Yeah.
Anyway,
you don't see much of the superpowers.
Well, no, because the mastermind supercriminal, played by James Remar, Rickshaw is the name of his supervillain, and I can't think of a sillier, less frightening name. Rickshaw. Unless he was Asian.
They keep defeating him over and over and over. And finally he's sick of it, and he's decided that he's going to destroy them all.
Destroy them all and make them kill each other.
Yeah.
So you have Jason Trost as Charge, Lucas Till as Cutthroat, Sophie Merkley as Shadow, and Lee Valmassi as The Wall. He's the big dummy. So The Wall is super strong, but everyone has had their powers taken away when they wake up unconscious in this town. Cutthroat, what was his great power? I don't know.
I can't remember. Knives or something?
Knives, maybe, yeah. Sophie Merkley, Shadow, her character is that she can be invisible. And Jason Trost, Charge, is just basically the brains behind the outfit. Because we learn, I'm not giving too much away here, but
he's like a detective.
Yeah, we learn that in fact he didn't get any superpowers from whatever the event was. He just works out.
Yeah, he works out, and he's also very smart.
And he's like Batman.
He's like Batman. He's like Batman.
Yeah. And then you have 2 supervillain strong guys, Manpower, played by Sean Whalen, and Sledge Saw, whatever the hell that is, played by Nick Principe. But James Remar is the only actor in this that you recognize. He goes way back. He was the chief villain in 48 Hours, the Nick Nolte.
Oh, is that right?
Eddie Murphy movie.
Yeah.
Way back.
That is way back there.
When. Yeah.
This is very low budget, right?
Super low budget.
I mean, probably no budget at all.
We're talking leotards and tights for costumes.
And the storyline is a little weak.
Little.
In that this arch enemy has basically booby-tracked the whole little town. He's taken control of the whole town. Yeah. It's like, how could he have done that?
Yeah.
I mean,
by himself, basically.
And he set up all these traps, elaborate traps, all by himself.
Yeah.
It's like nobody noticed this.
And video cameras and video machines and everything is all set up. And the brains here.
It would have taken him like a year.
Months at least to set this town up.
To set this up, and nobody notices it.
No.
It's like all overnight.
No.
Here it is.
Well, it's like all the anvils and paint and stuff plus, that Wile E. Coyote gets from Acme. If you ask Acme, they will set up a town booby trap for you.
Yeah.
It's a service.
And plus the fact is, he reveals himself after he's drugged them and tied them all up. He reveals himself and his mission to the heroes, saying that, I'm going to give you all these different tasks.
Yeah.
But then he makes the tasks impossible to achieve without killing yourself.
Yeah.
So what's the point?
Well, the point is he wanted each of them to be killed at the hands of the others. Until finally there's only 2 left, and then he'd kill the last one.
So why bother? Why participate at all?
Yeah.
I mean, he's killing the people that he's, he ties up a bunch of town.
He lives to torture.
He's tied up some town folks. You got to rescue these people. You have this amount of time. This is how you're supposed to do it and all that. And then he kills the town folks anyway. Whether they successfully complete the task or not. Yeah, which made no sense whatsoever.
And also, why go on to the next task?
Exactly.
Because he's not playing by his own rules.
Yeah.
So what's the point? And in fact, I thought that was one of the few clever moments when Charge, the main character, just says, okay, we can't win, and he shoots the hostages.
Yeah.
With a big, F.U. to the supervillain. Rickshaw.
Yeah.
rickshaw. Oh, there's a rickshaw chasing me. You know, sorry, there's just nothing menacing about a rickshaw. There's a Chinese restaurant in Vancouver. Now it's a nightclub that was called the Rickshaw.
Yeah.
And I mean, the scariest thing about that was possible botulism poisoning.
And now it's just alcohol poisoning.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, bad band. Oh my goodness. It's a definition of a no-budget movie. Writer, director, and star.
Yeah.
You know, that's great when it works out. You know, Woody Allen did it successfully. Orson Welles did it successfully once. Albert Brooks does it all the time.
Yeah.
But, you know, maybe some people just shouldn't be allowed even $100,000 to make their movie.
Well, I kind of look at it, and it all comes down to the writing. I mean, you can make a really low-budget movie as long as you have an intelligent story.
Yeah.
You don't have to have a bunch of special effects.
Well, I'll bet the Irish movie, I'll bet Grabbers didn't cost very much, you know. It's
okay.
Yeah.
But the person saying, this is what's going to happen, and then he starts breaking his rules right away.
Yeah.
Where's the incentive to follow his commands?
Yeah.
None whatsoever.
Yeah.
It's like, what the hell?
It was very badly done.
When you have that bad of a plot line,
right,
it's just not worth the effort.
No, it wasn't. It really wasn't worth watching.
It was an interesting try, but not well written.
No.
I'm not going to condemn it because it was low budget.
No.
It was because it was just silly.
Yeah, well, and when there's nothing else to recommend it, then low budget is what you wind up with. Because it looks like crap, and everything about it is crap. And the fact that luckily they didn't waste $10 million on it.
Yeah.
So, movies we talked about today. We talked about The Collection, which... I didn't.
You can't even remember that. That was like a half an hour ago.
It feels like it was 45 minutes ago. Yeah. So, we started with Sinister, which Mark liked more than I did.
Yes, I did.
I thought it's all right, but it's no great hell.
It's not a fantastic movie.
No.
I'll grant you that, but I didn't think it was bad as you're portraying it.
No, go see Mama. That's much better. The Collection, which is the 2012 sequel to the 2009 The Collector. They shouldn't have bothered.
I don't know. I thought it had its moments. I didn't see the first one, so I had no idea who this guy jumping out of a box all bloody was.
More of the same. And of course they've set it up for a third one. So if you have The Collector and The Collection, I suppose the third one would be The Collected.
Maybe.
Collectimacation, I don't know. But they've definitely got the second one. They set it up for a third movie in the series. Because by the end, I won't say. But anyway, it's set up for a sequel. And then the execrable Red Ink, which Mark definitely thought was the best movie he's ever seen in his whole life.
I didn't say that. I did not say that.
Yeah.
But I think it's better than what you're portraying it.
Oh, no, I'm right. It's awful. Grabbers, which you have to just take my recommendation on because Mark was tripping on angel dust that week, weren't you?
No, I was moving.
Oh, moving. Same thing. Okay. Grabbers was very good. All Superheroes Must Die. It's not even worth watching for a laugh. It's insipid and sad.
I always look at these low-budget movies as a good try or not a good try.
Yeah.
And
this is unsuccessful.
The actors were fine.
Yeah.
The setting was fine.
Yeah.
It's just the writing was poor.
You know what gets me about this movie? This is the thing that just made me shake my head throughout the movie. Okay, I get the conceit. Like the Watchmen pulls off the conceit of saying, okay, you got the Marvel characters, you got the DC characters. We're going to come up with our own set of superheroes. And, Superman... That's silly. That doesn't exist, but the comedian exists. Batman doesn't exist, but we got Night Owl.
Yeah.
Okay, see, so that's fine. This kid, what's his name? Jason Trost. What this guy did was he said, okay, Watchmen was a big success. Let's set up our own superhero movie. Now, hang on. We're shooting this on my dad's charge card. So, we'll take away the superpowers.
Yeah.
So we don't have to show any of that.
Yeah.
And we'll just talk about the girl can go invisible.
Yeah.
Oh, so lame. So very lame.
Hey, if you can explain it well and justify it, fine. I can accept that. What I can't accept is the lousy...
If you're going to make a superhero movie and put the word superhero in your title, I would suggest that at the very least you have a flashback to where the four of them...
There were flashbacks.
To where they were using their powers.
I believe there were.
No, there's not a scene in the whole thing where Invisible Girl goes invisible, where the wall uses his super strength. There isn't any scene like that. All we get is them jibber-jabbering about, boy, I wish I had my powers.
Anyway.
Boy, I wish I was watching a different movie. That's what I was saying. I wish I had the superpower to turn this trash
Well, the
off.
only nice thing about it is it wasn't that long.
Yeah. If I ever am diagnosed, and it's just a matter of time, with an incurable disease that gives me only like 48 hours to live, I'm going to be trotting out a whole bunch of these bad movies and putting them on. Well, because time goes so slowly.
Yes.
Very slowly.
I found a couple of these movies that we reviewed, I was fast forwarding through the morbid parts.
Yeah.
I don't need to see people being tortured.
Yeah, that would make a lot of these movies like 10 minutes long.
Yeah, and when there's some dialogue, fine, I'll stop and listen to it. But sleeking through the hallways and the strobe lights, and I can fast forward and still see that.
So much of it is just unimaginative repetition.
Yeah, but then the horror movie, there is a lot of repetition. Mm-hmm. It's very hard to be unique. Mm-hmm. So you can't blame them, but you can try to be clever at least.
Well, it's very philosophical, Mark.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And I'm going to leave that with you.
Yeah, all right. On that note, we're out of here. So we'll be back probably next week. Unless Mark decides to move again, or he shares that angel dust.
It's actually just normal dust.
It's all packed away.
Yeah,
anyway.
it's mostly skin.
Yeah, that's right. Yes, we're never totally gone.
Yes,
even after a good cleaning.
Yeah.
All right, so it's so long.